I've had a lot of weird encounters outside my office on my smoke breaks, but I think this one takes the cake, even with how anticlimactic it was. Today I was sitting on a wall outside my building smoking and messing around on my phone. I had probably been sitting there for about 2 minutes without looking up. When I finally do, I notice a guy on the corner about 20 feet away staring intently at me. He's hunched over, facing me in the classic zombie pose, wearing a large coat, a surgical mask and gloves. I didn't know how long he'd been standing there, but it was daytime and the area is relatively populated, so despite being the only people on the street, I wasn't too worried. I went back to looking at my phone, but kept discreetly glancing at his direction to see if he was still there. He didn't move or stop looking at me for probably another minute or a half, just sunken shoulders with his unblinking eyes pointed directly at me over his mask. Finally, I noticed an older man walking towards us, and my cigarette is almost finished, so I assume worse comes to worse, this guy will be near if anything happens. I glance back at my phone and hear what I assume are the older man's footsteps approaching. Before I have a chance to look up, the surgical zombie is sitting within an inch of me on the wall. I'm a polite girl, so I gave him a vague smile while my inner self and personal space are screaming at me to get up and leave. He asks me for a cigarette, so I give him one, and he just continues to sit there with it unlit. I can't fight my manners, so I ask if he needs a light, and he gives me a gloved thumbs up and stares at me. I ask him if that meant that he had one, to which he responds with another double thumbs up. I assumed that he was saying that he did, so I turn back to my phone, planning to take one more drag before getting up to leave. He then says, "Yes, I need one." So I give him a lighter. He hands it back, and I put my smoke out and stand up. He then begins to laugh, full belly laughing. I didn't really know how to respond, so I tell him to have a nice day and walk into my building. To be honest, I've never had a fear of people, and I can't say this is the first time I've had someone do something like this, but the mask and gloves really added to the absurdity of the situation. Have we met already? It's Friday night at around 8:45 p.m. The little one's in bed and I'm chilling with some friends online gaming. There's a loud bang and I'm instantly freaking out due to having my home, my safe place, invaded by some creeper twice in the past 3 months. I turn the volume on my computer down, trying my best to come up with excuses. Oh, it was just the neighbours doing something. Who in their right minds would try to break into my house when they can see that I'm awake? Front outdoor light on, lounge light on, everything. It's quiet for a while, so I return to playing the game and talking to my friends. That's when I hear rustling. I think it's coming from the game, despite the volume being super low at this point. But to be on the safe side, I turned the sound on the computer completely off. The rustling is still there. At this point, I think it might be that annoying pest possum. The banging could have been it jumping onto the garage roof, and I was snuffling about around outside the leaves, searching for food. As I said earlier, who would try to trespass when they could clearly see someone was home? If they did trespass, why would they be doing it so loudly? I want to say it put me at ease, but it didn't. Fast forward half an hour, and the noises have stopped, and my cat's begging me to be let outside. I hate opening doors, curtains, windows at night. Paranoia at its finest. But tonight, I had a reason to be paranoid, at least. I kept the chain lock on the door and let the fat fuzzball squeeze out, and had a bit of a peek through the crack, seeing if anything was amiss the front lawn. Nothing out of the ordinary. So I lock the door and head back to the lounge. 5 minutes later, someone tries the door handle, finding it locked. I hear a laugh, and they start scratching at the glass as I frantically grab my phone and call the police. Whoever it was had left by the time they answered the phone. The police couldn't find evidence that anyone had been on the property. They did a sweep of the neighbourhood, but couldn't find anyone on the streets either. Whoever you are, I'd say let's not meet, but I'm pretty sure you're the same person who came the other 2 times, and I'm fairly certain that that person is my ex. So, Mr. X, if it is you, smile for the cameras next time you come around. They just arrived in the mailbox.